Hello and welcome. My name is Angie Holden and I'm the blogger behind the Country Chic Cottage. Today we're going to talk about the xTool screen printer. We are going to talk about how to use the xTool S1 to actually burn your screen. And then we're going to talk about the screen printer itself. And I'm going to make shirts with it, but seriously this can be used for a wide variety of crafts. So if you love screen printing, you screen printed before, you want to get into screen printing and you have a laser, this might be something that you want to look into. Now, if you are a screen printer and don't have a laser, this might also be something you want to watch because making these screens with the laser is so easy, plus it is extremely accurate. So I did a fairly intricate design on mine, and I'm going to hold up one of my shirts here that I did. So I did a fairly intricate design to test this, and I do think it would work on very intricate designs. And the screens are permanent. So once you laser burn them, they are 100% permanent, and you can use them over and over and over again to make all kinds of projects. Here I'm making shirts. Now, when you screen print, you're using ink to make these shirts. That means that the fabric itself, it doesn't matter what it is. So cotton, polyester, cotton poly blends of any type, any kind of fabric would work in this. Plus you can screen print all kinds of other things. I don't have a ton of screen printing videos, but my friend Jennifer over at Pigskins and Pigtails definitely does, where she screen prints all kinds of things, so you can see a variety on her YouTube channel. So now everything you need comes in the kit. So everything I'm going to show you from this point forward comes in this one kit, and I am going to have a link in the description below this video for that kit. xTool sent me the kit to try out, and I must say I'm very impressed with it. I love making screens this way. It makes making screens way easier than other methods I have tried. So let's take a look at the screen making process first. The first thing we're going to do is add the screen to the frame. So this is the frame, and then you will need the screen piece. And the screen piece comes attached to a piece of cardboard. Do not remove that yet. Leave this all as one piece. First thing you're going to notice is there are handles on the screen. We want to open those. So open is always to the outside. Close to the inside. Open to the outside. We want to open each of these. So they should all be to the outside. And there are 6 total. So once those are all open, we can flip this over. The side that has the solid rails, we're going to call that the front. And then the side that has the indentions in the rails, we're going to call that the back. So we're going to flip it over to where the back is up. Then you want to put the screen inside with the cardboard to the bottom. So the cardboard should be on the bottom at this stage, and it fits inside of this rectangle. So the cardboard piece allows you to locate the screen. So drop it in where the cardboard piece is inside of that frame, and so you shouldn't be able to move it very much. Then you have these pieces, 2 long and 2 short, that are called fixing pins. So they have a tube on one side. So we're going to take that tube, press it down into the screen on one end. So from this angle, you can see here, this is about at a 45, and I am just pushing this down, pushing the screen down, and you want to push it until the pen sits fully into the groove that runs along here. When it sits fully into the groove, you can push this down, and it locks it into place. So at this point, this fixing pin does not move. So let's repeat that on the opposite side. Holding the pin over that groove at a 45-degree angle, pushing down until the pin slides into the groove all the way from one side to the other. And then once it's like slid into this groove all the way down, then you just push this down to lock it into place. So fixing pin on this short side, I'm gonna hold it at about a 45-degree angle, the tube portion down, and press down on that pin till it slides into the groove, and then push it down to lock it. And one more side, we're gonna repeat on this side, pushing down. When it's locked into place, press it all the way down. Now that all 4 of these locking pins are in place, you can flip this screen over. The locking pins should not fall out with the screen flipped over. If they are falling out at this point, you did not put them in correctly. Now we want to remove this cardboard piece. It is attached with a little bit of adhesive. However, you should be able to get under it at least in one corner, so I'm just using this little tool that actually came with my xTool laser. And I'm just lifting this up, and then you're just gonna keep lifting it up and sort of rolling from one side to the other. So there's just some adhesive on here. It's not that strong. This cardboard is going to lift right off of here. You can lift it off all the way across. And mine got under this rail slightly, but it's okay, it just lifts out. Now that the cardboard is out, we can start closing these clamps. So again, closed is to the center. So again, there are 6 clamps total. And as you close them, you probably will notice that your screen tightens up. And go all the way around, close these up. Once they are all closed, you can flip this back over. And you may notice that your screen is very tight. Hopefully you can hear that. It almost sounds like a drum beat. That's because this is extremely tight in this frame. So this is technically going to be the back side. So the side that has these fixing pins in location, this is the back of your screen. Let's take a look at how to add this to the xTool. I'm going to be discussing the S1, however, similar features are on the other xTool lasers. So the product itself comes with this bracket that is for locating your screen. So what I'm going to do is remove 2 of the screws from inside of the S1. Then we'll just locate this bracket onto here, line up those holes. And then the screen printer itself comes with longer screws. So you will need to use those longer screws and screw this right into place. Now we have 2 locating pins that can be used to locate the screen. You'll also notice I've removed everything from in here. So if you have the honeycomb tray or the triangular prisms inside of here, go ahead and remove those. Put the screen in again with the screen side up, or these locking pins up. Then this side has locators for those pins, and we just want to slide that into place. This will ensure that we get the screen in the exact location every time. So if you want to make multiple screens to do a design that has multiple colors, this ensures that you locate your design in the same place every time. First, you want to come up and change this from laser flat to screen print. That is the first thing you need to do. It will tell you to install the frame fixing piece on the right side. We have already done that. Now you can see a green rectangle on your screen. This represents the area of the screen that you can actually engrave. So it knows where your screen is because of that bracket that we added. Now with the laser turned on, we're going to take the laser head and move it somewhere in the center of the screen. Now we can go ahead and click Auto Measure to measure the screen. Then it will measure the screen itself. Now I already have my graphic uploaded. To do that, we're going to click up here and do Import Image and find the image on your computer. This is a SVG file, and I went ahead and changed it to engrave over here for the process type. And you can resize it as needed. You will also need to reflect it horizontally for the screen print itself. Now I like to rotate the screen, so it's exactly a 90 degrees rotation. I'm going to make it about 9.5 inches high in this case, or it will actually be 9.5 inches wide. Now what we want to do is locate this up towards the top of our screen, just for the purpose of locating it on our shirt. You can even draw a shape and pick rectangle, unlock this, make it about 2 inches by 15 inches. Then you can take this rectangle, move it up to the top, and that way you can get your design about 2 inches from the top, which is about right for most shirts. So wherever you want this located. And you also want to move it where it's about center within the green frame. Then we can delete off this rectangle. We're going to go to Material, and you do want to pick the screen itself. So we're going to pick Coated Screen 100 Mesh. And now if we go to our design itself, you can see what the power and the speed is going to be. So these are the settings for the xTool screen itself for engraving your design into the screen. So now that we have everything set up, we're going to go ahead and close the laser and click Process. We'll go ahead and click the button on the front of the S1 to start the process, and S1 will start the process of engraving the screen. Now you do want to be sure, I have this vented out a window, either vented out a window or use your air filter during this process and allow the laser itself to burn the screen. Once this is done, you'll remove it from the laser, and you may have to blow this out in order to get a clean screen. So maybe use some air, blow through it, make sure everything is off of the screen itself. So now we've used the laser to go from a screen that looks something like this to a screen that looks a little more like this, and hopefully you can see that my design has burned into my screen. So now we're going to put this screen onto the stand and actually screen print some shirts. So yes, the kit comes with everything you need to get started, so let's take a look. So as for the screen printer itself, there is a little bit of assembly. You will add the knob to the side here, and then this board does not come on here. So I'm going to attempt to lift it off because it is magnetic, so it just attaches with some magnets. So there's some locating brackets, and you'll find the corresponding pins on the screen printer itself. And you just want to line those up. And this is magnetic, so it kind of snaps down into place. So once all of those are aligned, this is not going anywhere, so you shouldn't be able to move this around. So on the board itself, there's a line here, and on the screen printer, down inside here, there's a corresponding line. Those should line up, so that's one way to line the board up. Then on this end, there are 3 knobs, and on the board, you'll see some directional arrows. This knob moves this entire thing in and out. This knob side to side, this knob side to side. So you can adjust these. I'm going to leave it in the center because I'm doing a shirt. I want the design in the center. But say you had a design you wanted on the chest on the left, you might need to adjust these knobs to get your location right when you screen print. Then when we add the screen in here, this is going to go up and down and it's going to close. This knob is going to adjust where this is. So I'm going to do it without the screen in. So if I loosen this knob, this is going to pop up very aggressively. So you can hold it with your hand so it doesn't just sort of pop back up. But this is the uppermost position, and then you can locate it anywhere along here. So this is all the way down, this is all the way up, and you can locate it at any point along in here. So for shirts, I'm going to have it pretty close to the bottom, and you just tighten that knob to keep it into place. And we can adjust that after we get the screen in here. So let's go ahead and add the screen. So when I add the screen, that same notched area that we used to locate it in the laser is going to locate it on the screen printer, and it is going to drop into here. So again, open on the clamps is out, and then we're going to slide these notches into the clamp here. Once that's into place, we're going to close these clamps on both sides. And you may need to slightly press it down, and then we'll close the clamps. And now we can kind of see where this is at. So it is just a little bit raised, which is probably where we want it. And to check the location, I can just add my surface in here real quick. So let's just say that I'm going to do this shirt. If I press this down, I'm a little high. So now I'm going to adjust this. So I'm going to hold the screen. I'm going to adjust it a little bit further down. Clamp the knob. Now I feel like that's pretty good. I feel like I'm getting it down onto my shirt. And I can just continue adjusting this until I get it exactly where I want it and where it feels really good as far as putting it down on my shirt. Again, this kit comes with everything you're going to need, including screen print ink. I'm going to use the black. This comes with these little jars of ink, 2 black, 2 blue, 2 red, 2 yellow, then 1 glitter silver, 1 glitter gold, and 1 glow in the dark. So you're going to remove the cap. It also comes with this spatula here to stir and apply. Then we're going to remove this portion. And you might want to stir this up. So you might want to stir this up before you start using it for screen printing. So it's your first step to go ahead and get this ready for the screen printer. So now everything is ready to go. I'm going to actually add the shirt this time. I like to thread my shirts on, so I like to separate the shirt and just put, in this case I'm putting my design on the front, I'm just putting the front over this. Now we can use, there are guidelines on the board itself. There are these knobs that you can use to locate, and you can use all that to get your shirt straight as well as in the right location. Now, if you remember, when I did the screen, I put it about 2 inches down. So it's about 2 inches down from this bar. So where this bar is, I would like my collar to be right where that bar is. So that's what I'm going to go for, and that way my design is about 2 inches down. And then we also want to make sure there aren't any wrinkles on this surface. So shirt's located, no wrinkles. And then I also like to make sure the shirt is under these 2 brackets here in the back. So when I close this, that it doesn't rest on the shirt, it's going to go all the way down to the brackets. And then I'm going to close this about halfway, and I'm going to kind of prime my screen. The other thing this comes with is a squeegee, has the xTool logo on it. It also has a magnet here. That magnet corresponds to a magnet on your screen, so you can just sort of click that into place. So that's located there whenever you need it. We're going to prime the screen with a little ink, and I am going to use black for this. And I'm going to go all the way across, just have ink on my spatula. And as long as I'm putting ink on this blue part of my screen where the laser did not burn my design, the ink will not go through the screen. So it's still coated in that area. So I'm just going to put ink all the way across there. And then with it lifted, still at this sort of 45-degree angle, I'm going to take this squeegee and I'm going to brush that ink across my design. So I'm trying to get ink sort of into the screen. Now I'm going to apply just a little more ink across here. Because I use most of it to prime the design, and this I'm using a lot less, then I'm going to shut the screen down onto my shirt, press, hold the squeegee at a 45-degree angle, and drag that across. Now my design is long, so I need to go across a couple times to make sure I get the sides. Now I can lift up and I can take a look at the results, and I really love it, so I'm going to leave it at that. No need to do any more. And I can actually just put this back on. It is still primed with ink, so I can go ahead and do my next shirt. So this one looks great, results are amazing, super consistent, got all of the lines, so I'm going to remove this. Now this ink is wet. We want to be careful when we remove this, and we want to set it somewhere to dry. Now you want to be sure to follow all instructions for whatever screen print ink you're using. Most of the time you have to let them dry overnight, 24 hours or so, and then you also have to heat set them to make them permanent. So you can see this area here is clean. I don't have to worry about anything like that. And this design looks really, really great. So I'm going to go ahead and set it aside to dry. So now that my screen is primed, it is very easy to do multiple shirts, which is one of the benefits of screen printing. So at this point, I can just go ahead, add another shirt, and repeat my entire process. Then once I'm done, I can clean this screen. So all I need to do is clean it with some water, and it's ready to go for another batch of shirts. So you can batch some shirts, clean the screen, and then use the screen over and over again to make multiple shirts. Now there are a few other accessories with this kit that I wanted to show you before we leave the screen printer itself. So it comes with this adhesive mat. There's adhesive on both sides. This mat is for things that are not shirts. So you saw with the shirt, I was able to put it over this whole thing so the shirt stays still. Let's say that I was doing there's a tote bag that comes with it. I was doing this tote bag. It wouldn't fit over this. How do I hold the tote bag still while I do the screen printing itself? And that's where this adhesive mat comes in. So you would just remove this liner from both sides. Then just locate this adhesive mat onto this wood panel. Then it's adhered to the panel with the stickiness that's on this side, and you can adhere things to it on this side. So let's just say that I want to do this bag. I could lay the bag into whatever location I wanted it to be in, make sure there weren't any wrinkles, and it is wrinkly just from the packaging, but you can see where this would keep smaller things still. The other thing I wanted to show you is it came with a few stickers. You could use labels if you had something small and you were doing it over and over again. So let's remove the sticky mat. Let's say you were putting something on here, you were doing it over and over again, and you wanted to know exactly what location you were putting it in. You can use the grid lines that are on the board, But if you have a hard time remembering, you can take these stickers, stick them to the board to sort of say, this is the corner, this is where I put my whatever you're screen printing every single time. Coasters, paper invitations, whatever. You can use sort of these stickers on this grid to mark a location. So that's another thing that comes with it, but you could use probably any labels for this as long as it was something that wasn't permanent and would just peel right back off when you were done. So now I've used the screen printer, I've made some shirts. I absolutely love the results. And like I said, at this point, I would clean the screen just with water, clean it out, get all that ink out, and then you can reuse it again and again. Now, if possible, I would probably leave the screens in the frames to reuse them. That way it would keep them nice and tight. You can probably add them back to the frames later. However, you might struggle a little bit with that process, getting it straight, getting it in location and everything. So if you can possibly do it, the kit I have came with 4 of these screen frames. So I do think it would be possible to leave it in there as long as possible, especially for like one run of shirts, and then use one of your other screens for something else. So for the kit, I have the xTool D1 and S1 series. So the D series and S series lasers from xTool are compatible with what I've showed you today. So those are the 2 types of lasers. Now this kit does need to be used with a laser machine, so you would need the laser to use the kit. And then if you had the xTool M1 or F1, you can't use the kit that I'm showing. So this is the multicolor kit. The basic kit is what you would use with the M1 or the F1. The multicolor kit you would not be able to use. Then you can get more supplies on the xTool website. So you can get more ink, you can get more of the screens themselves, you could get more frames if you wanted them, so you could get other supplies like individually outside of the kit from the xTool website. Now this screen would be able to use with other popular screen printing inks. If you have other inks that you are a fan of, you could use the screen with those as well. Now what are some of the benefits of this over other ways to make a screen print? So this is very fast in regards with other methods that you might be used to seeing to make a screen. So it's easy to put the screen in this frame. The laser does its job, removes that coating from the screen, and you are ready to add it to this and start printing shirts or whatever else you would like to print. Now you can print a wide variety of objects, as I was saying. I just showed some shirts, but you can think outside of the box with that as well. And I only showed one color. To do multiple colors, I would burn each screen, locate the design in the same place, and then you can change the screens out while leaving the shirt in the exact same location and just put each of the screens down, laying over each of the colors onto the shirt. So I did a simple beginner type project, but you could use this for color layering as well with different screens. Just be sure to locate those in the exact same spot. When we were talking about locating them, I put that rectangle into the xTool software. I put the rectangle to sort of help me locate my design. Be sure you do that for each layer of your screen and get those exactly in the right spot. And then because this screen printer is so adjustable, you saw me adjust the height and how many different heights it had. So it had a very tall height. You could do even taller objects. Boxes, notebooks, that type of thing you could do within the screen printer. So not only super flat objects, but also things that have a little bit of height as well. And I did want to note here, if you're talking about the M1 or the P2 laser, so this also works with the P2 laser, but if you're talking about the M1 or the P2, you would need the riser base. So that's an extra expense, but you would need the riser base for your laser itself to actually use the screen printer. So a few things about the screen itself, it's 100 mesh. So if you're a screen printer, you might be worried about what mesh size it is. It is a 100 mesh screen. And when I say you can use it over and over again, they're talking like hundreds of prints. I could set this up, make 100 or more shirts with it. I could make 50 today, clean the screen, make 50 next week, that type of thing. So they're talking a lot of prints just off of one screen. Okay, so that's all I have for the xTool screen printer. If you have any questions about the screen printer itself or anything I've covered, drop down in the comment section, ask away. If you like this video, if it helped you, give us a thumbs up. If you haven't already, head on over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We have videos just like this one every single week, and trust me, you don't want to miss any of those. So thank you all so much for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.